Good morning, friends. How are you? Are you fine? Okay, dear students. Today we discuss in paper 2 British poetry from 14th century to 17th century and the great poets of this 14th, 15th, 16th and 17th century. We discuss about those are the metaphysical poet. One more metaphysical poet today we discuss who is noted as a second after John Donne, the founder of metaphysical poetry, and that second most important poet among the metaphysical poet is George Herbert. The name of that poet is George Herbert. George Herbert lifespan is he was born in 3rd April 1593 and he was died in 3rd March 1633. You have to find, dear friend, find out that there is a short, the 7 only the we can say that of 40 years. George Herbert lived a very short period of time because the date was the same, 3rd April 1593 and died in 3rd March 1633. He was born in England and died in England. Is George Herbert belonged to 17th century, the metaphysical poets. Speciality, so he was English religious poet, and second he had PhD. He also the priest, and there he also played the role of orator. He was a orator. These are the major speciality of George Herbert is English religious, dharmic poet, priest, sant, an orator, pravakta, vakta, and he was the orator. Literary movement in which he belonged to is the metaphysical poets. He belonged to the literary movement, those the poet who wrote the religious poet, and we discussed about those are Richard Kershaw, Henry Vaughan, Andrew Marvell, George Herbert, John Donne, Robert Herrick. These are the metaphysical poets, and he was one of them. His notable works, so the only one work is enough to put him a memorable poet among the metaphysical poet, and that is the collection of the religious poet. It is the temple sacred poem. Sacred is holy, pavitra, sacred poems, and private e-calculation. Private e-calculation is 1633. Remember the year of his date. 1633. Published in 1633. And the same year he died. Then Bimerton, a priest to the temple. Bimerton, a priest to the temple or the country church. Country એટલે ગામડાનો country parson. Parson એટલે પણ priest, clergyman. These are the parson. જે રીતે આપણે સાધુ, સંત, પંડિત આ કહીએ છીએ even in there was a church, there was a Christian religion. They use the word priest, parson. Even that, yes, remember that in YouTube, Geoffrey Chaucer, the partner tells, very good. The partner is also the synonyms or similar words of the priest, clergyman, parson, partner. These are the synonyms for the padri અથવા સંત માટે વપરાય છે ને Christian religion. And the third one is the character and the rule of the life, that published in 1652 after posthumous, after his death. That work was published after his death. And those are some of the poems I have to mention here. They are the part of the temple in the collection of the poem. And some of the poem are the church porch, the church militant, the altar. Altar એટલે મિત્રો porch એટલે ચર્ચને બહારનો વિસ્તાર, militant ચર્ચની વ્યવસ્થા, church militant. The altar, altar એટલે યજ્ઞની વેદી, યજ્ઞનો જે કુંડ બનાવવામાં આવે ને ચોરસ, આપણે યજ્ઞનો ચોરસ કુંડ નહીં બનાવતા, and it is called the altar. And altar, then Easter wings pattern. These are the also we can say write down the Easter wings pattern. They are the single poem. They are the part of the collection of the temple. Scarlet poems and private calculation. It is eject calculations. It is a part of that. In 1633, Nicholas Ferrer, one of the close friend of George Herbert, and that was one of the fish, and that was Nicholas Ferrer, and that Nicholas Ferrer has published the poem in 1633. Now we can get George Herbert, one of the prominent metaphysical poet. He was born in 3rd April 1593 in Massachusetts, in England. He was died in 3rd March 1633 in England. He lived a very short period of life of about 40 years. His speciality was he is religious poet, priest and orator in university. He belonged to the literary movement, the metaphysical poet. His notable works, the temple, the scarlet poems and calculations in 1633, Pemberton, a priest to the temple or the country parson, character and rule of life in 1652, published in, and those are the single poems. That is the part of the first collection, and they are the church porch, the church militant, the altar, Easter wings, patterns. They are the very famous poem of that. Now we discuss about his life. He belonged to the middle class family, and he was self-educated. You can say that. He was the home educated. He got his basic education in his home, and later on he got the admission in Westminster School, and here he can get his schooling admission. You have got Westminster School, and he got his college education, higher education in Trinity College, Cambridge. He got his higher education in Trinity College, Cambridge, and here he was very highly educated, and here during his education in university he was selected as the orator in university. He was selected as the orator in university. That's why, and he himself, George Herbert himself quoted that it is the highest place. He got the highest place or highest achievement in his academic or education period, and that is that he was elected as a 1622 the orator in university. Later on, he joined in the court. He became the member of the court. But after some period of time, he was felt neglected in the court. So he became the 1633. He ordained or he became the priest in a church. Here he met his friends. Nicholas. Here he met his friends Nicholas Ferrier, and with the Nicholas Ferrier he started to write down the poetry and try to rebuild or reform those are the, we can say, the shortcoming of the church. Okay, and later on all of his life up to his death he continues to write down the religious poetry. Life to George Herbert એ મધ્યમ ફેમિલીમાં જન્મ્યો હતો. અહીંયા એને એનું હોમ પ્રાથમિક શિક્ષણ ઘરે મેળવ્યું અને ગ્રેજ્યુઅલી એની પોતાનું સ્કૂલ એજ્યુકેશન એ ઇંગ્લેન્ડની બહુ ફેમસ સ્કૂલ વેસ્ટમિનિસ્ટર સ્કૂલમાં ભણ્યો હતો અને કોલેજ માટે એ ટ્રિનિટી કોલેજ કેમ્બ્રિજ યુનિવર્સિટીમાં એને પોતાનું કોલેજ એજ્યુકેશન. અહીંયા યુનિવર્સિટીમાં એ 1622માં ઓરેટર તરીકે સિલેક્ટ થયો હતો, ઓરેટર ઓફ ધ યુનિવર્સિટી. and it is the work of university and it is the very highest એ પોતાની એને શ્રેષ્ઠ સિદ્ધિ માનતો હતો શિક્ષણ વર્ષો દરમિયાન. અને લેટર ઓન એ જોઈન એ ચર્ચમાં જોડાયો, લેટર ઓન એ કોર્ટ દરબારમાં જોડાયો. પણ અહીંયા 10 વર્ષના સમયગાળામાં 20 થી 30 વર્ષના સમયગાળામાં એને અવગણના જેવું ફીલ કરવા લાગ્યો, કારણ કે કોર્ટના માણસો એને અવગણી રહ્યા હતા. એટલા માટે એ ચર્ચમાં પાદરી બની ગયો. અને અહીંયા એ એના મિત્ર નિકોલસ ટેલર સાથે જોડાઈ અને કવિતાઓ લખી અને સાથે સાથે એને જીવનભર ચર્ચના સુધારા કરવા માટે પોતાનો ફાળો. Now we discuss about his contribution in the field of that. He was, I can say, the beginning of my lecture I can say that John Donne is called or considered the father of metaphysical poetry. John Donne is considered the father of metaphysical poetry. And this, remember that John Donne is considered the father of metaphysical, known as metaphysical poetry. That John Donne and is the first, and the second place in metaphysical poet is the George Herbert, and he is remembered for, we can say that he is notable or remembered for his purity and effectiveness of his choice of word. Whenever he have to write down his poetry, so we are